To my white brothers and sisters, how would you hope your minority friends respond to the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life when he has very publicly said things like this? Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter.
Hey guys, welcome back to another quick hit video. I want to talk about another breaking story that's really horrifying me. We have an extremely prominent sports analyst, a Black influencer with more than 1 million followers on Instagram, sharing just a complete hoax and lie about Charlie Kirk after his death, smearing him for using slurs that he never used. And apparently this guy is not even repentant about this. His name is Emmanuel Aiko. Of course, he has Jesus in bio, but apparently doesn't mind lying about a dead man who was just murdered. So I'm going to show you the clip that he put out explaining why he's not on board with the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life because he was such an evil racist, where he just blatantly lies about Charlie, peddles something that never, ever, ever happened. And he has left this video up. It's been days now, this has been pointed out, and he has not taken it down or issued any sort of apology anywhere that I could find. So without further ado, let's watch this video. Then I'll explain the context that it leaves out to totally lie about Charlie. Listen to this.
Charlie Kirk's death has led me to an uncomfortable conversation that I want to facilitate. To my white brothers and sisters, how would you hope your minority friends respond to the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life when he has very publicly said things like this?
I live like a capitalist every single day, Cenk. I live as a capitalist.
Because of DEI, it begs the question when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence?
And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter. Refer to Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court, both Harvard graduates, as not having the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Suggested that if seeing a black pilot, would assume they were a DEI hire. To my white brothers and sisters, I'm genuinely asking, how would you like your minority friends to respond to the celebration of his life? Not to his death, but to the celebration of his life.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here, and then I'll explain the total lie behind all of this. But first, yeah, I would kind of hope, and I think most people of color, people of different minority groups, I'm gay myself, and Charlie said controversial things about gay people. Doesn't matter. Just because somebody said a couple things that offend you doesn't mean you should view them as an unambiguously evil person with no redeemable qualities, or not mourn their death when their life is taken in an evil act of political terrorism. I don't get this point at all, even if everything he said in the clip was true, and it's not. It's literally not. He just totally distorted reality to lie to his millions of followers. And I'm going to show you the receipts and the proof right after this. If you've been living on credit cards to cover your gas, groceries, and bills, you know those interest rates are brutal. So why keep paying 20% interest or more to the banks when you could call my friends at American Financing today? They have mortgage rates in the 5s, and they are showing people every day how to keep more of their hard-earned money in their pockets and out of the hands of credit card companies. Right now, American Financing is helping homeowners save an average of $800 a month by using their home equity to wipe out high-interest debt, with no upfront fees, no obligation, and just a 10-minute call to a salary-based mortgage consultant. And here's the kicker. If you start today, you could delay 2 mortgage payments, putting more cash in your hands. So don't wait. Call American Financing now at 866-891-4811. That's 866-891-4811. 866-891-4811, or visit americanfinancing.net/Brad Polumbo. You'll be glad you did. Now back to today's show. Okay, guys, so there's 2 main points that this guy makes in his video, Emmanuel, about Charlie Kirk. One of them is that he accuses Charlie Kirk of having used a slur against Asian people in this clip that he showed just the briefest snippet of. That's a lie. He did not use a slur for Asian people in that clip. He said Cenk, as in Cenk Uygur, the founder of the Young Turks and a prominent progressive commentator who he was arguing with. He was screaming at Cenk in the audience and using his name. And now, this influencer with millions of followers stripped that out of context to lie about a father who was just killed and accuse him of using racial slurs, which, by the way, would not remotely justify his murder. We don't do the death penalty for mean words in this country. But regardless, it would be absolutely unacceptable to talk that way about a person and use racial slurs against them. But he didn't do that. He was speaking to Cenk, a person named Cenk, in the audience. Here is the full clip where you can literally see Cenk Uygur, this famous person that he's arguing with, in the audience. This is a total lie. Watch this clip.
Very sad man getting very angry. A very insecure man.
So, how does one even make this mistake? I can tell you how. This guy must have seen some tweet or some TikTok making this allegation against Charlie Kirk and just didn't bother to fact check it at all before putting him on blast and calling him an evil racist who used slurs immediately after his death to millions of followers. That is so irresponsible. That is such a reckless use of your platform as an influencer with millions of followers that people look to. As a former television journalist, I don't know, man. That's just, to me, that's unforgivable to do that, to use your platform like that. And then people have immediately pointed this out in the comments. People, I'm sure, have messaged him to clarify this, and he's left it up. It's been days. That video is still up on his YouTube channel. I went and watched it myself to confirm that it was real before I criticized him, because I saw somebody post it on X, say like, look what this influencer lied about Charlie Kirk. And me being a responsible content creator, I verified that this was a real video or that this wasn't itself deceptively edited. And I wanted to make sure maybe this guy made an honest mistake and apologized for it and took down the video. Nope, none of that. It's still up. I couldn't find any apology. He didn't post any other videos apologizing at the very least, which you'd think if you made such an egregious mistake, if I made a mistake like that, what I would do as a person with integrity and respect. First, I probably would never engage in this endeavor in the first place, which is somebody was just murdered in a brutal act of political terrorism. Let me go find 5-second clips of them to say how bad a person they were. I probably just wouldn't do that. I just don't feel the need to do that, actually. But that's just me. But if I did make such a mistake like this, I mean, I would immediately take down the video and then I would publish another video saying, guys, I messed up. I'm really sorry. This is not true. I apologize to his family and all his friends, and I will not make a mistake like this in the future. And where is that accountability? It's not in the room with us. I just don't understand. And he's just been back to posting about sports and other content. And I'm like, how do we not hold people accountable more than this? Where are the standards? Mistakes like this that are not even apologized for, there's not even accountability. You shouldn't listen to these people. As an influencer, your brand and your trust is supposed to be your currency. And when you betray your audience's trust, they need to stop watching you. That's the only way we ever get out of this vicious cycle, is if people are punished when they lie. Not, of course, I don't believe in censorship. I don't believe in government punishment for lies or anything like that, but through the audience, through the marketplace. We need to do a better job rewarding the good voices who behave responsibly and punishing, through the marketplace, the bad voices who are reckless liars and seem not to care. Now, even the other part of this video, where he's saying that, he insulted Black people and DEI and Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson, it is complicated. I share a lot of Charlie Kirk's criticisms of DEI and affirmative action. I do think he spoke about it in a blunt and generalizing way. I personally, for example, don't agree with the comments that he made about black pilots because while there has been affirmative action earlier in the pipeline, they do have to pass the same tests and meet the same standards as everyone else. So there's not really reason to believe that a black pilot would be underqualified. At the same time, though, for example, he suggested that Ketanji Brown Jackson benefited from affirmative action. She literally did. She was a beneficiary of affirmative action when she was admitted to higher education. And then President Biden openly said, I'm only going to pick a black woman for the Supreme Court. And then he picked her. To call that out or to suggest that she couldn't have got there on her own merit is therefore like not an evil racist thing to say. It is a debatable, defendable proposition. And if you don't like that, honestly, you should take it up with Biden and others like him who have openly promoted affirmative action, pick people because of their race. And then when people start looking sus at people who are in these positions, who are people of color, and saying, maybe they're not qualified, you can't be like, that's racist. That's gaslighting. Like, you wanted to do affirmative action, but then you declare someone an evil racist if they noticed that you did affirmative action. Again, I don't want to necessarily bash Charlie from the grave or anything, but if you go back on my channel or you go back on my feeds, you will find many videos of me disagreeing with Charlie for the way that he talks about these issues. It was too blunt and too extreme for my taste, but we're not going to sit here and act like he was crazy for suggesting that any prominent black women in American politics ever might not have deserved to be there on their merit, when literally the Democrats have been open about that. You're crazy. We're not crazy. And regardless, the idea that makes him an inherently evil person, an irredeemable person, because you can find a couple clips that you can chop out of context into a 10-second highlight reel, I'm sorry, no. Literally every political commentator has said things that are aged poorly, that sound bad in hindsight, that sound terrible in 5-second clips. When you have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of recorded commentary on the most contentious and divisive political issues in American life, it's going to just be the case that you will always make mistakes. You will say the wrong thing sometimes. And I'm not really interested in combing through the worst things everyone ever said after they died to try to say, like, well, we shouldn't really mourn their life. No, actually, we probably should. Obviously, there's an extreme to which I'm not going to shed any tears for people who killed people and horrific criminals and such, but we're ultimately talking about a man who his weapon was his words, his speech, and he was killed because of it. That makes him a free speech martyr, whether you agree with everything he said or not. And I'll also just say that at the absolute bare minimum, you should not be lying like this about a dead person who can't defend himself, who can't even sue you for defamation. I don't even think that's a thing you can do for somebody who's passed away. And then to not take any accountability, to not apologize, and just keep posting like nothing happened. It is so shameful and so disgusting to me, but I can't really say I'm surprised. This kind of is the new low of influencer culture, of influencer political commentary. People make insane lies and predictions that don't come true, and then they just move on, never talk about it again. We've got to start holding people accountable, not by doxing them, not through violence, not through censoring them, but by punishing in the marketplace of ideas and with the audiences and with the views and our attention, and stop continuing to support creators who get caught lying to you. That really should be the bare minimum, but we're just not doing enough of it. That's my take on all of this. What do you guys think? Are you as horrified by this as I am? And are you enjoying these shorter, quick hit style videos instead of my normal podcast, the Brad versus Everyone podcast, where I criticize internet insanity and media scandals? Remember, you can listen to full episodes of my podcast on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, yada, yada, yada. But regardless, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like button, comment with your thoughts, and we'll be back with more content real soon.